confidence in the Congress that they've given up the power that they do have, and that is to scare the hell out of that person in Congress. You know? And I'm not talking Republican and Democrat. I'm saying take a look at the issues and see which side you're on. And if you know someone that has a different party label and they're with the 1%, I think you then say, you tell me why. Because you're coming up in 2 years, and I say we can't afford to wait until the end of the election. We have to do it now. And I'm a little scary because I was raised in a very religious environment, and not that much took on me until I was in combat, and I was the most religious guy in my unit in terms of saving my butt. But having said that, the older you get, you'll find the more you wonder what's going to happen next. So I don't want to get in any trouble with what I'm about to say, because I know the power of organized religion. I know their deep feeling about abortions. I understand their sensitivity to same-sex marriage. But we're talking about the heart of humankind. And when you can look at protesters and not ask, what do you believe about this? Then I would ask the question, for non-believers, what is the most important symbol of the existence of God, no matter what you call her, except human life? And I would think that any religious leader that couldn't prove that a baby being born, you don't do that, you know, I mean, that's a baby being born. Somebody superior to you was involved in putting this together. How could you allow someone to take these lives and put them in harm's way, to have them killed, to have their eyes, their blind, their limbs shot off, and not protest? Especially if you're a religious leader that has direct contact. You could say there's a better way you could have handled this. You really didn't have to say assassinate the bastard. You really didn't have to send drones over there. You could have said that these people live because of multinationals. They're surviving, they're eating, they're getting guns, and somebody is for money doing that. And if they really thought that they were involved in protecting the country, notwithstanding the greed, if they suck up everything that makes the country, how are they going to survive? And so when I look at what we're up against here, it's economic justice.
It's economic justice.
Now I ask you, is morality involved with economic justice?
I think the two are one and the same. I really think that if we're working off of a value system that
And our religious leaders, do they have a responsibility as it relates to moral justice?
Certainly they do. You know, I think of the scene from The Patriot where there's the pastor of the local church, and when everybody grabs their guns to go fight the British, the pastor grabs a gun too, and he says, I'm protecting my flock.
And so what about the civil rights movement? Jews and Gentiles and nuns and everybody. They weren't protecting blacks, they were protecting human civil rights. So I have no idea as to where this is going to go with me. But I'm old enough that if my grandkids ask me, I should be able to take advantage of all these years and give them an answer. And I always used to say, someday someone would have asked me, well, Granddad, what did you do in the civil rights movement? I feel comfortable. But if someone was to ask, what did you do for protesting when they were there? Were you with them? Did you sleep in a tent? Did you encourage other people to go out there? And where was your church? Where was the synagogues? Did you take advantage of the fact that you've been a public servant and some people know and respect what you say? Did you transfer that to other people? And what is their fear? I mean, it is true that at one time I was checking their tax exemption, but that was because we had a lot of rip-offs, and it was pretty obvious that they were criminals instead of religious leaders. But there must be a good reason why we give them tax exemption. I forgot the reason. I truly have. So what I'm saying is that if you want your voices heard, you ought to first find out who's against you. And anytime you can say 99%, and it's not so bad, but you really got statistical data to prove the wealth held by the 1%, then I think you have to check out where is the religious community in the 99%, only because you need everybody, no matter what their interest, you need everyone there. So I'm making an appeal to veterans who are really getting the short end of the stick. I mean, there has been nothing that I can think of that's been more unfair than to have government go into a war, one, without the consent of the people, and two, if you can afford not to go, you don't have to go. That's totally, and what's coming back will never be able to provide what they need to behold. I don't think that that is politicians'